So time for a new update. We have finally seen some action from the bulls, which became time. So let's quickly go over into it. We are basically still in this range from low to high right there, where we are, if we pull the volume profile, had some fuckery start of the week with that weekly open dump. Then price came down, lost the value area low, and here we did some interesting price action, which I go over after this, because on the low time frame we showed some interesting price action. But if we now look back at the bigger picture, we deviated the range low, or like the value area low of this range of our volume profile. And from value area low, we reclaimed it and directly went to the value area high. And price is right now hovering around the point of control. So purely from a volume profile standpoint, we deviated value area low, reclaimed it, value area high. Right now, price is at the point of control. So this is the level where, yeah, like a lot of people feel like missing out, or maybe they missed a long from here, and now they think, oh shit, I'm missing out. I need to make it good, so I need to take either a short or a long. But just keep thinking rational. We are in the middle of the volume profile. This is not the place to become overly confident or try to make things back or whatever. So just because of that, keep in mind where we are in the chart. Then if we go to the lower time frames, for example, the 1 hour, I stressed how the mark structure was important, basically from here. Then we had that weekly open dump, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. And in the last video I also explained it, but we had that lower low, lower high, swing failure of your market structure low right here, which means that the high that brought you into that low is a weak targeted level, and then it is likely, according to market structure rules, to retest that level to see, because here the sellers did not manage to put in a new low. So now the market will retest, okay, can we then break the level that caused that new low? And then we can see that price did that, price came back to that high, broke structure back to bullish. So we have SFP followed by a bullish structure break. And from there, price basically has been trending up in this local uptrend with a strong expansion like yesterday. Yesterday I went into the update, and that was around here. And then we can beautifully see how this move, which was our last market structure high before we made that last low, we had super clean supply with this supply, and then that top was there. So this was supply, and the top candle, which is like the extreme level, that was not tapped. This has to be red, of course. But then we can see how price sliced through that supply level, therefore turning supply into demand, aka a flip zone. And watch how price bounced from that zone perfectly. So yesterday I was still long, but I wanted to look for add, because I sold most of my position around here. So I was looking to reinvest that into a new long. However, I did not get my trigger, because what was my trigger? I knew this is my POI because this is the flip zone, but we had some local demand right below it in form of range demand, which was this box. Now you can also include basically this. However, because a flip zone is a super nice zone to work with, but what I was explaining yesterday in the video as well was that we had that lower low, lower high, lower low. And what I had hoped for was that we made the lower high, lower low, therefore giving us new market structure, because then this is your market structure level. And if you then break that back to bullish, like this, then you have an entry trigger confirmation, because then you can enter right there, put your stop loss below that low, and then target new daily highs but because you want to trade with the trend, you could target higher prices for it. Like to the target, it would have been a super juicy RR, but yeah, we did not get it. So you do not always get what you exactly want. Because right now we did not make a new low. We made a slightly higher low, which therefore our structure to work with was still this, with this being the higher low. So if we look, when did we broke that? First we wicked it. So if we fully go according to the rules, this is an SFP. So the real break, so then we have the staircasing effect. The real break came right here. So at that point, you could have said, okay, this is your breaker structure. Then to be safe, I would still use this as my invalidation. You could also say you can use this as your invalidation. That's the more risky outcome. I would say, just for your peace of mind, use the lower one. But then, like towards the daily high, it's a bad RR, and then towards the range POC, it was also like too. So yeah, in hindsight, it was worth it, but yeah, for me at the moment, I would have loved to see that new low, and then it would have been a super clean long. But yeah, as I said, you not always get what you want, and I was still long, so you don't see me complain. And right now, we have our weekly low on Tuesday, super strong low, very unlikely to be taken out. So let's see my chart here what my current POI levels are. If we, let's put the volume away. If we look at the move up, we basically have as bullish structure from low to high. First here, higher low, higher high, higher low, and then basically higher high. So any pullback here can be a lower high for a higher high. And we also left some supply behind, untouched. So I still think we can move higher. And if we then look, okay, what are the retracement levels? Let me get this away. Let's clean this up a bit. Let's remove the view up as well. Then you can always draw like your volume profile from your low to high to see, is there something aligning with a demand zone, for example, your POC, with your demand zone. That's right here. So in this expansion leg from this low to this high, most of the volume has been transacted in this part, which is aligning with a demand zone as well. Let's see what it is. It's like a 2-hour demand zone. So with a 2-hour demand zone aligning with the POC, so that's a great level to look for potential higher lows for higher highs. So that's a key POI I'm looking at. Then I know from the order flow that we also have like here with a block with a lot of positive delta. So a lot big buyers stepped in this candle, which you can say it's like weak demand. So that's also a level to keep an eye on. However, you can also say we are trending up. So from high to low, do we have a valid range? Clean range. Then you can say, yeah, it's a valid range because you have high, you have low, and here you tap your mid range. So then it's a valid range. So we can also look at it from that price. What it often does is it expands strongly, and then it starts to form a range. And then you can look for either accumulations below or above for distributions into supply. So that is a way to look at it. You can also say locally we are trending down. So you can also pull your range from low to high, in which you have then tab 1, tab 1, tab 2, and then potentially watch for distributions here if you get confirmations for potentially scalp shorts into the POIs right here. And then you can look for the market structure confirmations for longs back up higher. However, this is like more scalping trading, so that's not for everyone. Like the more interesting, or like for the calm of mind, I will just look at this range, put on your deviation threshold, and then you can see that you right now have tab 1 at the high, tab 1 at the low. We tap mid-range, valid way to look at this range. And then the deviation threshold is here. So basically any moves below the range low within deviation threshold can still create accumulation models. And then you can even get like a 1. 2, 3, tapping into that demand zone right here, or even lower, because if we make a new tap, you can extend your range lower, and then you will see that it slowly nears that lower demand zone. So a few ways to look at it, and yeah, as I always say, you can make a lot of predictions like this will happen, that will happen, but I can make a video right now and say I'm expecting or I'm interested in this local distribution, but if price after this video, when I upload it, comes up right here, forms some local model 1, break structure back to bullish, then I'm longing that model 1 instead of the potential distribution right here. So that's why I also don't like to stick to one scenario, but I can just say what I can see happen, which is like a local accumulation right here. Then I still think we can make our way up into 71, 72, 74K, potentially even higher, because we have a super clean 4-hour break structure. So if we see right here, we broke structure back to bullish. Let's ignore those volume candles. So yeah, from an order flow perspective, I'm expecting a higher high for a higher low for a higher high. Then do we have some confluences? For now, yeah, local range, the expansion leg POC is right there. And as said, oftentimes after a strong expansion, price starts to range. And that is just to see what is the new fair value of price. So buyers step in, sellers step in, and then if you range, you form a new fair value. A lot of people will feel FOMO right now because they either missed a long or they started shorting the uptrend right here. So now people want to step in, but 9 out of 10 times Bitcoin has a strong move up, range, where people use too tight of stops, get stopped out, get stopped out, get stopped out. Price just start ranging, and then eventually you get a clean setup, and then you want to act on that clean setup. What most people do is that they take stupid trades right now, lose, and then when it's clear, they don't have any bullets anymore. So that's the wrong way to approach it. Then quickly looking at what are the stats saying. Daily stats are not that interesting. We have a warning sign of 94% of the daily lows form after 0000. Current daily low, where is our daily low? Yeah, so our daily low is is our current local range low. So taking that out could give us a 2-tap setup potentially. If we then flip back to bullish right there, it can be a long back to the range high, just playing that local range. You can see most of the volume is in the lower part right now, as you can see right here. So this is just local chop. But what's more important is what is the weekly stats saying. So we know our weekly low was printed on Tuesday, and we know Monday, Tuesday together put in like 80%, close to 80% of the weekly P1s. So we knew if we wanted to make a weekly low, it had to be on Tuesday, and that's exactly what happened. And then also during the New York session, which is a big confluence. So our current weekly low is right here, current weekly high is right there. Let's see what the stats have to say. 7% of the weeks took out the weekly low based on time statistics, so that's very low. And distance statistics, 26% of the weeks took out the weekly low. So pretty safe to say that the weekly low will hold. Then how likely is it that we make a new weekly high? That can tell us what we want. Do we want to look for expansion legs, or is it more likely that we start to range? Then based on timing, 80% of the weeks form a new P2 after Wednesday. So current weekly high is on Wednesday. So based on timing, there's still a great chance that we will make a new high. If we do that, often it happens on Friday or on Sunday. So that's also important to keep in mind. Sunday is the most likely. And then distance statistics, P2 is likely to hold. Only 26% of the weeks moved further than 12.2% to the upside. So right now we moved 12% to the upside. Only like 1 out of the 4 times it makes a bigger expansion. So that tells us that we already made quite a big of a move. So to expect much higher from here is not that likely. However, based on timing, we still have legs higher. So my main expectation is we have a local bullish trend until proven otherwise. We broke 4-hour structure back to bullish. We are in the volume, if we zoom out, right now stuck between the POC and the value area high, but I'm interested in lower or like long triggers anywhere after sweeping the local range low or after tapping into the demand zones I marked out lower. And then I think we can still move to the range highs potentially around 73k. So for now, that is the main expectation. If you have any questions, then let me know. And then I see you in the next video.